Hi guys, finally after a long time I decided to make another video. For this series of videos I want to be working on this bike. It's a Yamaha XJ650. It's in a pretty rough shape. I bought it for 350 euros and I want to make some mix of cafe racer and something else from it. First thing I'm going to do is disassemble the entire bike because I need to get the engine cleaned and fixed, because as you can see the inlet ports weren't covered very well and it's full of dirt and grime. So we're going to strip the entire motorcycle, put the engine on the bench and disassemble the So I just finished stripping the entire top side of the bike. So now we are going to get started on the running gear. So we are going to take off the wheels, front and back, or back and front. Then start dismantling the entire exhaust, and then hopefully the engine will come out. So I finally got the rear wheel out, and because it is a motorcycle with a drive shaft, it gave one hell of a fight. It's finally out, and it only cost me one screwdriver, so all in all, it's all good. Now I'm going to tip the engine to get the exhaust out. Then we take out the front fork, and in the next episode we'll start disassembling the engine itself. So I took the front bolts out, and the rear engine bolts hold the front footrests as well. So As you can see here, I'm going to take out those bolts so I can remove the footrests. I don't think they recommend 10,000 washers to hold down the foot pegs and the engine, but at least they're out. So I know somebody else worked on this bike and everything is not original, to say the least. If I'm correct, the engine should be loose now, so I'm going to use the same straps to lift up the engine or tilt it backwards so I can get the exhaust. I didn't film much, but as I said, I used the ratchet straps just enough to tilt the engine, and now the exhaust is out. It looks in pretty good condition, except the brackets are mostly broken. So now let's check out the exhaust ports and see how they are. So as you can see, they look like yeah, and I will have to take the head entirely off to clean it, but that's for later. Now let's just take down the fork, then we can put the whole chassis with the engine down on the lift and take the engine. And who knew that this bike would come with 2 free fish tanks? It's important to save these little bearing balls, as there's nothing wrong with them and they get quite expensive. So I just like to keep them in a paper towel, tie it up and keep it aside. Just like this. So now basically the front end is loose, except for our little fish tanks. So now we can lift the frame out and get rid of the front fork, which I don't think is an original one. So as I said, I don't think these are the original forks. It has some weird hydraulic pressure regulating thing, which used to be connected by 2 lines. Here there's one cut off, and on the other side there's a little of what's left over. Maybe I can show you. And it seems to be connected to the front brakes. So what I think is that when you brake, the front fork would stiffen up or just loosen up, one of 2. If anybody can explain me the system, leave it in the comments. So after many hours of struggling and having to take out the oil filter, the engine finally came out of the frame. So now it's time for me to make another video, which will you see next time, where I take apart the engine and assess the damage. So this was one of my less interesting films, because it's mostly about taking the bike apart, but it's a quite important step. Next time you see me explaining more about the engine, and we will go on from that. So thank you for watching, leave a like, and see you in the next video.